You ready?
You already recording.
I am.
I knew it. You know why?
Why?
You make a face.
Can you read the questions to me?
You see? Alright, I got my smart water, got my question.
I got my new sweater. What is the first one? So for this question, I think the first thing we need to do is we need to define what we mean by new Christian. And I know a bunch of people would define that differently. So for our sake in this video, I'm going to define a new Christian as someone who has just made the decision to surrender their life to Christ, whatever that means for you. And my advice to anyone who is a brand new Christian in that sense of the phrase would be to focus on what I like to call FPTB. That stands for fellowship, prayer, teaching, and breaking bread. And those four things are taken out of the New Testament in Acts 2, when the writer of Acts is describing the early church in that chapter.
Early church.
That hurt my feelings.
You want to go to church today? I love you. I'm really sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Hey, go get him, champ.
Thanks. So in Acts 2, the writer gives us a description of what the early church looks like. And it seems like they were focusing on these four things: fellowship, hanging out with other people, other Christians; prayer, communicating with God, whatever that is, whether it's through worship or whether it's through silent prayer or whatever it is; teaching, meaning for us today, listening to sermons, going to church, getting in the Word and studying the Bible; and then breaking bread, which is a specific practice of intentionally getting together in community and sharing that bread with one another, and also, I believe, the practice of communion and the sacrament. So if you're a new Christian, my advice would be to focus on FPTB and try and implement those four things into your life each and every day in some small way, and I think you'll watch as the seeds of faith begin to sprout in your life.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Puppies running in slow-mo is so cute.
So this question actually has a really fun story that goes along with it. So before I answer it, I want to tell you the story. This morning, I was having trouble paying my credit card bill online. So I called the company and I was talking to a customer service representative, and he was taking some of my information and making sure that I could pay the bill over the phone. And at one point, he's like, "All right, Mr. Jorgensen, I'm going to process that. While that's processing, do you mind if I ask you a question?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Have you ever heard of the hashtag #AskAnima?" And I was like, yeah? And he's like from the YouTube? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, are you that John Jorgensen? And I was like, yeah. And so apparently there's a customer service rep at Capital One from the Philippines who likes to watch the Anima series. And Mark Conrad, big shout out to you, he helped me out this morning. So today, hopefully I'll be able to repay the favor by answering this question, because this was Mark's question. I asked him if he had one because we were filming this today, and here it was. What was it again? So I love you, Mark Conrad. But I have to say, we have answered this question several times in several different videos on this channel before. But because you were so awesome and you helped me out this morning, I'm going to answer it again. And I'm also going to give you 2 links to 2 other videos that you can watch that touch on this topic. The big thing that I always focus on whenever I find myself in a conversation or a friendship or any sort of relationship with someone who is either a non-believer or someone who is an atheist or someone who is staunchly against religion, the thing that I like to focus on the most is forming an authentic relationship with that person. I think that in my life, I've found that I can only earn the platform to speak into someone's life about God and about Jesus if I've earned their respect first. And that respect comes from not having an agenda with the person that you're relating to or talking to, but simply going in to the relationship with love and generosity and to hopefully build that trust. So at one point, the doors of conversation will be opened for you. So I think that's the first step, to form an authentic relationship. For more thoughts on evangelism and talking with people who aren't Christians, you can check out either of these videos and they will give you some more of our thoughts. Shout out to Mark Conrad in the Philippines. So this is a really popular question, and rightfully so, among a lot of young Christians. Is it okay for me to date someone who is not a Christian or might not believe the same things that I do? And what a lot of people, you watch any other video on YouTube about this topic, there are plenty of them, they'll bring up that verse in the Bible that talks about being unequally yoked. And basically what the verse is talking about is when it says yoked, that's a symbol, or that's a symbol for what they used to do to oxen. And they would put this big thing on their backs that would pull them together so they could pull a cart. And essentially, that's a metaphor for what we do in marriage. When we join ourselves together, we are yoked together and we become one and we go on this journey. And so when the Bible's telling us not to be unequally yoked, what it's telling us is it's saying we can't be brought together as one with someone who has a different foundational belief than we do, because we'll never be able to carry that cart together with equal strength. We'll always be pulling one direction and they'll always be pulling another. Now, that is talking about marriage, and this question is about dating. So I want to talk about dating for a second. So when I talk about dating, I want to be very clear that this is my personal opinion. I am not a pastor, I am not a relationship expert, and I don't play one on the internet. This is just me sharing my personal opinion here. I believe that dating is done most effectively when the relationship is entered into with the intent of bringing and growing that relationship towards marriage. So basically for me, what that means is when I say I'm going to start dating someone, that means I'm making a commitment, an intentional commitment to start growing and actively pursuing marriage with that person, that yoking together that we were talking about. So do I think that it's wrong or against the rules to date someone, or impossible to date someone who's not a Christian? No. Do I think that it is a generally wise choice? No, I don't think it is. However, this doesn't mean that we have to automatically cross anyone who isn't a Christian off of our list of possibilities for who could one day be our spouse or that person that we're going to be yoked together with. It is quite possible that the person who is going to be your spouse, the person that one day you will be equally yoked with, is not yet a Christian. Or you're not yet a Christian and they are. But my advice would be, before you enter into this dating relationship, which for me should be a relationship that is intentionally moving towards marriage, before you do that, focus on the friendship aspect of it and getting to know each other in that way, giving each other that time to grow, before you make this big commitment of we're going to move towards marriage without having those same foundational beliefs. Those are my thoughts. What's next?
We are married, we dated.
What is your answer for this one, Air?
I guess this is gonna be not as good of an answer as probably somebody wants, but how to do adult things together. Like insurance and doctor's appointments and buying a car. It's not always so fun, but it's nice to have a teammate.
I think that the biggest thing that I've learned, or I guess relearned, because this is something I learned while we were dating, but it becomes even more important, I think, now that we're married, is that I need to continually be intentional about learning about you, if that makes sense. I know that's kind of a meta answer. I don't know, people say meta a lot. I'm not sure if that was the right usage. Comment below if that was the right usage of meta. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned or relearned, is that the more I can continue to remain open to learning about you and remain humble to changing my mind and changing my ways so that I can serve you better, I think the more successful our marriage has been in just the 2 months that we've been married. That's a really good point, actually. We've only been married 2 months. You should not be asking us. Is that it? That's the last question. We're in Pittsburgh. Sorry I'm filming this in a hotel, and sorry if the lighting isn't great, but we're making do with what we have. Tomorrow is the Pittsburgh Tour Show. It's gonna be exciting, but that's it. Time to dance. Bye now.